This is Sydney. Today, it's Australia's largest city, home to over 5 million people, and instantly recognisable by its Opera House and Harbour Bridge. But Sydney's story begins in a very different place. Through AI reconstruction of historical paintings, photographs, and maps, we're going to watch Sydney transform from that tiny colonial outpost into one of the world's great cities. Sydney Cove is barely 11 years old. The settlement clusters around the harbour where Captain Arthur Phillip first landed in 1788. You can see Government House on the eastern shore, the barracks, stores, and a scattering of rough timber buildings. About 5,000 people live here now, a mix of convicts, marines, and free settlers. The tank stream provides fresh water running from the ridge down to the cove. Beyond the settlement, dense bushland stretches endlessly. This tiny foothold on an immense continent still depends entirely on supply ships from Britain for survival. Sydney's streets now rumble with steam trams. The city has exploded to over 220,000 people. This double-decker steam tram represents the cutting edge of urban transport, connecting the expanding suburbs to the city centre. The open-air upper deck gives passengers sweeping views as they rattle along at 12 miles per hour. These trams will only last 2 decades before electric models replace them. But right now, they're transforming how Sydney-siders live and work. You can live miles from your job and commute daily, something impossible just a generation ago. Sydney sprawls across both sides of the harbour. The bird's-eye view reveals a city transformed in just 1 century. Circular Quay bustles with steamships and sailing vessels. The Rocks district crowds the western shore. Garden Island sits in the harbour, and suburban development spreads inland toward Darling Harbour. Population tops 380,000. The railway network connects distant neighbourhoods, and the city centre features grand Victorian architecture. In 12 years, the separate colonies will federate into the Commonwealth of Australia, and Sydney will compete fiercely with Melbourne to become the new nation's capital. Artist A.H. Fullwood captures Sydney from above, and the city's ambition is unmistakable. In the bottom left, Sydney Town Hall stands as the crown jewel of civic pride, completed just 7 years earlier in ornate Victorian Second Empire style. The building cost a staggering £150,000 and sparked fierce debate over its extravagance. But this view shows why Sydney wanted it. The city has transformed from convict settlement to colonial powerhouse. Church spires pierce the skyline. Warehouses line the waterfront, and streets grid outward in all directions. Sydney is proving itself worthy of grand architecture, ready to compete with any city in the British Empire. Alfred Tischbauer captures George Street at the height of Victorian prosperity. This is Sydney's main commercial artery, where everyone comes to shop, socialise, and do business. The street buzzes with pedestrians, horse-drawn carts, and elegant carriages. Grand hotels and commercial buildings line both sides, their ornate facades competing for attention. The wealth from wool, gold, and trade has transformed Sydney into a sophisticated metropolis. Gas lamps will soon give way to electric streetlights. This is a city confident in its future, a far cry from the desperate convict settlement of just 70 years earlier. The Grand Central Coffee Palace rises like a monument to respectability. During the temperance movement sweeping Australia, reformers are building lavish coffee palaces to rival hotels and pubs. Why drink alcohol when you can enjoy coffee in a building this magnificent? The palace offers dining rooms, billiard halls, reading rooms, and luxurious accommodations, all without a drop of liquor. It's part of a broader battle over Australian identity and morality. These ornate buildings prove that refinement doesn't require alcohol. Though most coffee palaces will eventually fail economically, they represent Victorian Australia's earnest belief in social improvement through architecture. The Queen Victoria Building dominates the entire city block on York Street. Completed in 1898 to commemorate the Queen's Diamond Jubilee, the building replaced the old Sydney markets. Its massive copper dome rises above everything except the Town Hall clock tower, visible in the distance. Inside, over 200 shops sell everything from flowers to furniture across multiple levels. The building cost £150,000 and sparked controversy for its extravagance during an economic depression. But architect George McRae created something extraordinary, a Romanesque palace for everyday commerce, proving that markets can be as grand as cathedrals. Electric trams revolutionize Sydney's transport network. A coupled set of E-class trams climbs the colonnade approach to Central Station, the city's magnificent new railway hub that opened just 3 years ago. The Pitt Street lines branch off to the right, part of a sprawling tram network that now carries over 200 million passengers annually. These electric trams replace the old steam models, running cleaner, faster, and more efficiently. Sydney's population has topped 500,000, and the city is spreading rapidly into new suburbs. Without this electric tram system, the expansion would be impossible. Central Station connects everything together. George Street remains the heart of Sydney, but the traffic has changed dramatically. Electric trams glide down tracks alongside the new automobiles that are starting to appear in greater numbers. Pedestrians still dominate the sidewalks, moving between shops and offices in Victorian buildings that are now considered old-fashioned. The Great War just ended, and Australia mourns 60,000 dead. Sydney is different now, more sombre, more aware of its place in the wider world. The Sydney Harbour Bridge stands complete, the largest single-span arch bridge in the world. After 9 years of construction and 16 workers' deaths, the bridge finally connects the North Shore directly to the city centre. The granite pylons rise 134 metres above the water, and the arch spans 503 metres across the harbour. The bridge transforms Sydney forever, turning isolated northern suburbs into accessible neighbourhoods and creating the iconic skyline the world recognises today. The aerial view reveals Sydney transformed. The new Harbour Bridge dominates everything, its massive arch connecting the city centre to the North Shore neighbourhoods that were previously accessible only by ferry. From above, you can see how the harbour shapes the entire city. Suburbs spread in every direction, following the waterline and spreading inland. The city centre clusters around Circular Quay. The Sydney Opera House rises from Bennelong Point like a fleet of white sails. Danish architect Jørn Utzon's radical design has been under construction for 7 years, and it's already causing massive controversy. The project is running wildly over budget and behind schedule. Those distinctive shell structures required revolutionary engineering, using over 1 million tiles from Sweden. Utzon will resign next year after bitter disputes with the government, never seeing his masterpiece completed. But even unfinished, the building is extraordinary. Behind it, the Harbour Bridge stands as a reminder of Sydney's previous engineering triumph. Together, they will define the city's identity for generations.